Hey guys, what is up? It is me, JMA Grenier, and today we are going to be talking about something that all authors struggle with. Yeah, it is time to get to the nitty-gritty. It is time to talk about the muddled middle. So, what is the muddled middle? Well, it's the second act to any story, or sometimes, as some people put it, it's the third book. It's the second book of their 3 or 4 part series. It always takes place after this inciting incident of your book. Sometimes when you do the muddled middle, it can feel like it is dragging, right? But I've actually come up with some things that could actually make your muddled middle better. If not, at least make it make more sense, make it make more attention. A lot of fun stuff like that. So what can you do to make it better? Sorry, I keep looking down because I actually have notes here. Of all things, filler chapters actually make a huge difference. And the reason being is because, one, it actually helps people get to know your characters a heck of a lot more. It shows the softer side or a whole other side that no one even suspected, not even other characters either. And 2, it gives the reader and the characters a breather. Granted, yeah, it is always awesome when there's always chapter after chapter after chapter after chapter of non-stop action, non-stop tension and such. But nothing is wrong with a nice filler chapter just to have everyone sit down and take a breather, including the reader themselves. And a really good example is the Aurora Cycle books, because what they did is there was always something in each and every single chapter, but once in a while they would have this calming chapter, or a part of a chapter at least, where they all sit down and just take a breather and such. It makes the book actually a little bit better. Don't be afraid of putting a filler chapter in there. I've done it with my own book, but the people who I've given it to have a look at it, they said it was good. So nothing's wrong with filler chapters. Another thing that actually helps when you feel like you're dragging the plot around, or dragging the chapter itself around, and you're not quite sure how to end it, many cliffhangers make a huge difference. If you feel like you're dragging the chapter along and it's been at least 10, 11 pages, stop, take a look at the chapter, just really quick, resist the urge to edit unless you're one of those drafters, and just have a look at it and such. And if you feel like you've put in more than enough information there and it just feels like they didn't find anything or whatever, nothing's wrong with ending the chapter on just a random quote, or if they happen to have found something out. Nothing's wrong with leaving the chapter on a quote or a question, or even better, you can leave the chapter in the middle of the page with the random quote, and then in the very next chapter just start off with your plot demands. Because if you feel that you're dragging that chapter along, maybe it is time to move on to the next chapter. Trust me when I say it's okay, you're not. That's what the muddled middle is all about, oddly. You're not dragging the plot. It's okay. So what also helps with making your book itself a lot better, what helps a heck of a lot, is adding subplots in your book. Sometimes even in some chapters themselves as well. But for the entire story itself, nothing is wrong with putting in a B plot or even a C plot. Again, what if one of your characters is going through a bankruptcy in their company, and he finds out while he's dealing with whatever that is, he finds out that he's actually adopted. and that he has to deal with his parents and such. The adoption part is the B plot, and it helps make the story a heck of a lot better. And or like even like a C plot, a third kind of plot in the story. If your book is like pretty long, a C plot also helps with making the story more tense. Like, say for example, that guy is like dealing with the bankruptcy of his company and dealing with the adoption, his own personal adoption that his parents didn't tell him about. What if he has an ex that's trying to get back into his life when really she's probably after like the plans or whatever? Like that right there is the C plot. The X can be the C plot. Like I can probably go on and on and on and go on a tangent on what you can do to help make the muddled middle better. But the real questions are for the muddled middle is how many characters are going to be included in the muddled middle? Like how many characters would you actually have to cut out of the muddled middle? Like granted, probably only like 2, maybe 3, but nothing's wrong with that either. Like those characters or their archetype can be put into another book or in a whole other franchise if you're working on one. Like, other questions that you would probably have to ask yourself is like, while you're dealing with the main villain or the main antagonist of the story, is there an anti-hero in there somewhere that's just neutral to it all and is just there to like cause havoc and have fun? Like stuff like that is what you will have to ask yourself questions about. Like another example is when it comes to romance. Say your 2 core characters, they are fighting to go to the same college and such, and they do end up going to the same college, and the B plot can be one of them is like really struggling to be able to graduate from the college, while the other one is like dealing with their own thing. Like those 2 right there can be like its own like B plot, while the plot of the book itself can be like a cult could be after them because they're just too educated or something like that. There's so many examples that I could put here. Another thing that you guys could probably ask yourselves too while you're writing the series, while you're writing the Muddled Middle, like, is there any kind of romantic tension? Like, hey guys, don't mind like the random cut or anything because my camera decided to freeze for a moment. As I was saying, is there romantic tension going on? Is there a chance that the friend can possibly confess his feelings to his loved one or their loved one? Or is there anything else that they can possibly do to make their friendship work after something happened? These are the questions that you may need to ask yourselves. You can't forget about the questions that you need to ask. The 4 W's and the how. Like who, what, when, where, and why. And the how. Those questions are important when you're doing the Muddled Middle. Other than that, like, I actually don't have much else to talk about today. Hopefully this does help give you guys a much better idea on how to draft your story, about how to write your books. So I do hope that you guys will end up subscribing and liking this video, because we are going to start getting into the nitty-gritty on the editing, on even more of the how-tos, and there will be much more coming your guys' way. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and you guys stay awesome, stay safe, and this is your weekly reminder to water that cactus.